Good morning, everyone, and here from Radio Yoga Marbella studio. My name is Arianne, and I'm going to guide you today through a practice for opening the side body. For me, opening the side body is a really important thing because it involves our thoracic area, the back, the front, the chest, the heart, and the side ribs. So just to be clear from the beginning, our side body extends from the waistline to under the armpits. From the back body, it's from the sacrum more or less all the way up to the base of the neck, and in the front it would be from your lower ribs all the way up through your sternum to your collarbones. So we will start today, and what you're going to need, if you have that at home, if you have the props, you're going to need 2 blocks, 1 blanket, and that's optional, and 1 belt. Okay, but that's optional also. So we're going to start by placing 1 block like this, sideways. You can always, if that's too intense for you, you can take the block further down, but block standing up like that, the other block at the same height, and then we'll place a blanket on here just for your head. So I'm going to start by taking the bottom tips of my shoulder blades on this block here, making sure that I really open my chest as I go down. You'll have to adjust the block under the head in the blanket so that you're comfortable. And then the idea is I really take the shoulder blades gently in, I lengthen my tailbone, and I take my legs into like a swastikasana position. My hands, palms face open by my side. And we're just going to stay here for about 1 minute. You can always stay longer at home if you want to. But just breathing deeply through your nose into the chest and the heart. Nice long deep inhales and exhales. Every time you exhale, you relax your shoulder blades, your back onto the blocks. On the inhale, you feel that the ribs spread open, the sternum lifts, the collarbones lift. And on the exhale, you start releasing all the way down into the blocks, sacrum on the earth. 1 more long breath here. And then gently you're going to change the cross of your legs, so the one that was in the front now goes to the back. You let the knees relax, you let the legs relax, you can adjust again, lengthening the tailbone. And then again we stay here for about 4 long deep breaths. Make sure that the back of the neck is long, make sure that you relax your face. Being really present how you draw in your inhale so that the upper chest expands and lifts. And on the exhale, allowing the back body to sink down into the block. Good. After the 4th exhale, you turn the palms of the hands down, you press into your mat. You lift your head up, you lift your heart, and you come up with the straightest back possible so that we don't immediately start rounding here through our backs. And then the next one is we're going to cross the legs again the other way around into swastikasana, making sure that we've got the feet underneath our knees. And then walking the hands gently forwards, lengthening the whole side, lengthening your spine, and bowing your head down. Now, some of us are able to bring the head to the floor. If you feel more comfortable with that, you can always take a block. And then as you go forward, you place your forehead on the block. We're taking a few deep breaths in here, so you're staying, you're breathing. Every time you're lengthening your spine a little bit more. You're extending the sides. You make sure that you take full inhales and full exhales. And then after the following exhale, you walk your hands back up, make sure that your spine is straight, and then we uncross the legs, we take the other shin in front of us, and then we go forwards again, making sure that really the armpits are long, the arms are the longest way possible. You're not resting your elbows on the floor, you're keeping your arms straight, elbows straight, and you bow your head. Your chest might come down to your shin, your head might come down to the floor. And then at the same time, make sure that your sit bones are not lifting up through the back. So you're really grounding your hands into the floor. If you want, you can always push your hands a little bit forwards into the floor so that the sit bones stay grounded. We're not lifting our bum off the floor. And then to come out, you lift your head, you keep your spine straight and walk your hands gently back, coming to an upright position. Good. So we're going to place the blocks and the props here to the side of our mat, and from here we're going to come onto all fours for about 6 Chakravakrasana, so cat-cow pose. Your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, you can keep your toes tucked under here, and then once you're ready, you take a deep inhale, you roll through your spine, you lift up, you spread the collarbones, you look gently up. And on the exhale, you start from the sacrum, you tilt your sacrum down, tucking it down under, belly pulling up, rounding the spine, chin to chest. And very slowly starting the movement at the sacrum, we're rolling ourselves back to an opening, the front body. And then exhale, we're going to round slowly, slowly, pulling the belly up, pushing the hands into the floor, really rounding. Good, and you can keep going like this for another 4 times. Inhale to exhale. Making sure that all the vertebrae from the neck all the way to the base of your spine are moving. And last one, tucking under. And then coming with your spine into neutral. We're going to take a stretch, a little variation here, taking the right arm forward, making sure that the arm is at the height of your shoulder and stretching your left leg back. So what we want is, we don't want the leg to be too far down. We want it to be the leg at the height of your hips. And then pushing back through my heel. If you can see, I've got my foot flexed. Arm is really straight in front of me, and I'm lifting myself away from the floor with the other arm. And we're going to stay here for 3 deep breaths, holding our balance, trying to keep the hips level. Good, and then gently placing the hand down, and then we go to the other side. So same thing, left arm stretches forward at the height of my shoulder, right leg extends back at the height of my hip. I push away from the floor with my right hand, and I lengthen from my fingertips all the way in a diagonal line, all the way to my heel. I'm going to keep my balance, so the hips have to stay level. Watch that your leg doesn't drop down, keep it nice and high. And then gently placing the hand back down to the floor, the knee to the floor. And then we're going to go into Balasana, child's pose. We're going to stretch. Again, the hands as far forward as we can, forehead to the floor. Just having a rest here for 2 breaths, 3 breaths. Making sure the sit bones are down on our heels. Elbows are not resting on the floor. I keep crawling my fingertips forwards. And then gently coming back up to all fours. And we're going to go, I'm just moving a little bit back on my mat. So we're going to go to Ashtangasana and then into Cobra Pose 5 times. So gently I'm going to start leaning forward, bending my elbows, coming down with my chest, my chin, sliding myself forward, tops of the feet flat on the floor, lifting up into Cobra Pose, and then pushing back up and going back into Child's Pose. Okay, so we're going to do that about 4 times. On the inhale, lifting up. On the exhale, starting to come forward, chin, chest. Sliding myself flat, lifting up into Bhujangasana. Coming up, back into Balasana. Inhale, rising. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, lifting up my chest. Exhale, pushing back to my heels. Good. We're going to do that one more time, and then we're going to hold our Bhujangasana. So exhaling, slowly bending the elbows back. Make sure the front of the shoulders don't dip down, they stay lifted. You come down, opening up through your chest. Strong arms, strong tricep pushing back. Good, and then the last one, we're going to hold our Bhujangasana, our Cobra Pose, for about 5 long breaths. So lifting up, neck long, don't jam your neck back, keep your neck long, and breathing here. Tops of the feet are flat into the floor. Breathing long, deep breath into the open chest. Make sure your lower back doesn't get crunched. And then slowly releasing down, pushing into my hands, coming back up, and going back into child's pose. Just to open the back, to open the sides, crawling the hands forwards. Good. Alright, so the next pose is, it's going to be a lying down Vrikshasana, something that you don't see very often. But what it creates an opening through the bottom part of your rib cage, through your armpit. There's a lot of lymphatic glands there, so we want to start opening that up and creating a little bit of balance. So, what I would like you to do is lie really on the edge of your mat. So you lie completely on the edge of your mat. Make sure that your hip is on the edge of the mat, your arm is stretched out on the edge of the mat. Then I take my hand, fingers pointing up, leaning my hand into the palm, my head into my palm, taking the hand in front of you so you see you don't want to lose your balance here. And then I'm going to take my right leg into Vrikshasana, into tree pose, placing it as high up as I can, closing the gap here between my calf muscle and my hamstring. And then I can use this hand as a support. And what I don't want is I don't want my bum to stick backwards. So the idea is that you start gently pushing your tailbone long, really, really long, so that you're going to start feeling that the groin here on the right side, don't lose the balance, the groin on the right side stays open, and you're really like lying on the edge of your mat. So really pushing your knee backwards, lengthening the tailbone, and you're going to feel that from your elbow all the way down to your left foot, you're really, really super long and open. So for those of us that have great balance, which it's not my case right now, you're going to try and take your hand to your knee without doing this, without falling back. So you better keep your hand in front of you, really rolling open. Good. Few breaths here. Stretching the whole left side, the whole bottom side in contact with the earth long. Lengthening the tailbone. The most important part is that you lengthen and pull your tailbone in. Good. And then we come out. And we go to the other side, so we just shift around. Remember, we're lying on the edge, the front edge of the mat. So placing the center of my hips, placing the center of my foot, really lying on the edge of the mat. The arm, your elbows in line with the edge of the mat. The fingers of your hand are pointing upwards. You're going to take the other hand in front of you, placing your foot onto the inner right thigh now. Hand in front of you for balance, and then this is the action here. Your knee, instead of pointing forward, is going to point up towards the ceiling, and you're pulling your tailbone long. Super, super long tailbone, that's it. And just feeling. So for some of us, it might be a challenge to get this whole underside of my armpit flat on the floor. As best as you can, keeping our balance, lengthening the whole side. You can see that my bottom foot is staying really, really active to hold my balance. The moment I take this hand off the floor, it gets difficult. So lengthening, tailbone in, open chest, long side body. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Very nice. Good. And then we come out of it. And we go into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Placing the hands, palms flat on the floor. We're going to come up with our knees bent at first. Pushing the hands forwards into the mat. You want to have the head in line with your arms, really lengthening the arms. So lengthening out through the side body. And then very slowly from bent knees, lifting up the sit bones and stretching the right heel down to the floor. So this is the first real hamstring calf muscle stretching open. And then we change to the other side. So don't just paddle your legs side to side like really quickly. You want to really give the muscles here on the back of this leg time to extend and stretch. And then we go one more time each side. Here we go. Good. And then from here I'm going to step my right foot forward for Anusara, bringing my left knee down to the floor. I'm going to bring the hands onto the front knee, lifting up, so you see that I'm upright, upper body upright. And then from here, for 3 times, we're just going to extend forward. You can see now my knee extends over my ankle. The hip flex on my left side is opening up. I'm not leaning forward, I'm keeping my spine upright. Coming back up. Sinking back down. Inhale, rising back up. Exhale, sinking back down. Good. This is the 3rd one, so we're going to stay here. Upper body stays upright, and now you're going to open your chest and see if your fingertips want to start touching the floor. Doesn't matter if they don't, okay? But you want to start rooting down through your legs, really opening up through the leg muscles, through the back of my right thigh, through the front of my left hip flexor. And then gently I'm going to back it back up. Going to place the hands on the floor and step it back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Knees bent. Head in line with my arms, pushing the hands forwards. And now slowly, slowly keeping that line in my spine. Maybe now I can bring my heels down to the floor. So really, really opening up here. Lengthening, shoulders open, neck is relaxed. Maybe your heels stay up, doesn't matter. Maybe they reach down to the floor. And then I look to my hands, I step my left leg forward, and we do the same thing on the other side. Anusara, hands on your front knee. Good, lifting up so you can see that I've got a straight line to start with, knee on top of my ankle. And then from here, we're going to sink forward. And coming back. Inhaling on the lift, exhaling as I sink forward. Again, inhaling, lifting up. Exhale as I come down. This is number 3. And now we're going to hold it here. So of course, at home you can hold these poses for longer, but for the sake of the time of our film, we're just going to do it all a little bit faster. But if you feel good in a pose, please hold it for longer. Okay? So reaching the fingertips if we can down towards the floor. So really opening up the stance of the legs, opening into the weight sinking down into the floor. Upper body stays upright. I'm not cheating by leaning forward. So really staying as much as possible in the pose. Good. Slowly placing the hands on the floor. And we step back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. So now, since my legs are a little bit open, I can feel already that the back of my calf muscles are more stretched out. My hamstrings are a little bit looser. Head in line with my arms. Open shoulders. Breathing here. One more breath. And then you're going to walk your hands, keep your feet as they are, and just walk your hands back to your feet into Uttanasan. Lifting halfway up, placing the hands on the hips. You're going to take your front of your shoulders back, elbows back as much as possible, Ardha Uttanasana, keeping the neck long, and then lengthening the tailbone, really compact hips. As you lengthen your tailbone, you come up to standing. Very good. So what we did lying down, we're going to do standing up now. So we're going to do a side bend in Vrikshasana in tree pose. So you're going to stand in the center of your mat. You're going to root down through your feet first, and we're going to lift the right leg up to start with. So root down left foot, really spreading the toes open for more balance, and then I lift my right leg up. So again, I want to close this gap, right? This gap between my calf muscle and my hamstring, really closing it up. So bringing the heel as high up as possible into the abductor of my left leg. And then this is the action that we did on the floor. We're going to take the knee back without turning my hips. So I'm not turning my hips. My hips stay to the front. The two iliac crest bones are pointing forward, really opening the knee, really tucking the tailbone under. And then from here, placing the hands into Namaskara at the heart. Feeling your balance. Keep lengthening the tailbone, lifting the chest up. And then stretching your arms slowly through the center line, bringing them up, tall tree. So right hand releases down on my right knee, and then I'm going to go sideways. So here's where the side body starts stretching open, all the way to the side. So I'm really leaning my weight into my right foot pressing into the inner left thigh, and then lengthening upwards, upwards, upwards through my left fingertips. And I can feel that there's a stretch from my waistline all the way through the armpit. My skin is stretching, opening up the sides, breathing here. Remember, you can always stay in the pose for longer. And then keeping our balance, we come back into the center, we lift the other arm up. We bring the hands into the heart. And then gracefully trying to step the foot back down to the floor. Right. So we start off in Tadasana, standing tall, feeling that I'm grounding now down through my right foot, balls on my right foot, toes are spreading, really grounding through my heel, inner heel, outer heel, and all the toes equally placed on the floor. I lift my left foot up, again closing this gap. Then taking my knee back without shifting my hips. So you see these little headlights here of my iliac crest bones, they're still pointing forward. I'm not doing this. So the action is of lengthening your tailbone, the sacrum moves down towards the heels, and you're opening up the groin here, right? In Anusara, we've just opened this section here, so this should be a little bit easier now to feel that you're really spreading open through your groin, all the way down to my knee. On my right foot, from the inner ankle and the outer ankle, energy lifts up to my knee, lifts up into my hip socket, lifts up into my sacrum, and then rises up through my spine as I place my hands in Namaskara at the heart, shoulders are back, staying focused with your breath. And then you're going to take your arms up, lengthening both sides. So I'm not really integrating my shoulders down today, I'm asking you to lift up, opening the sides, really lift up. Your serratus is lifting here, your armpits are opening. Good, and then I'm going to place my left hand on the knee, right arm stays up, and here's where we go sideways again, and you can play around with this. I mean, how far can we go sideways? How far can we lean into the pose? How much stability can I keep by going off the center line? And then gently, gently you're going to rise back up. Hands come back into your heart. And what we always try to do is not explode out of the pose, but carefully placing the foot back down on the floor, back into Tadasana, shoulders back, feet are parallel, sacrum down. Really good. Well done. Okay. So for the next pose, we're going to go into wide open legs, Prasarita Padottanasana. You want to feel that your outer edges of your feet are parallel with the outer edges of your mat. How far open do I open my legs? Well, if I go too far open, I'm going to feel like I can't hold the stability in the pose, right? So you want to really feel that more or less, if you open your hand, that your wrists are over your ankles. That's more or less a pose that gives me a lot of stability, right? I'm going to take the hands onto the hips, the shoulders roll back, chest is open, and coming forward into Ardha Prasarita. Long neck, looking down to the floor, elbows stay back, shoulders stay back. I feel that my outer ankles are not rolling out, so I'm not losing my balance. My outer ankles, outer shins, outer knees, up to the hips, stay really pulled in. And then I lift the energy from the inner ankles through the inner knee all the way up into the abductor. Good. And then I'm going to place my right hand right in front of me on the mat. So I'm going to push the hand into the mat, lifting up my chest, lengthening my spine forwards, and then I'm going to turn all the way over for Parivrita Prasarita Uttanasana. You want to feel that you're stacking your shoulders on top of each other, and you're lifting and lengthening up through the top arm. So I don't want to have a bent elbow here. Really, really long arms, straight elbows. Good. To come out, I come down, and I swap hands. So pressing my left hand into the floor right in front of me, in the center of my legs. Placing the right hand on my hip, I start turning without turning your hips, right? The hips stay level. The spine stays level. All we're doing is we're turning our waistline, we're turning the chest. Always think center of your chest starts opening up. You lift your arm, you extend your spine. I have to adjust my hips here. Breathing, and then gently coming back down. Okay. I'm going to bring my hands onto my hips, elbows back, shoulders back, lifting back up. If you want, you can help your feet together, come back into that asana for a moment, and take a few breaths. And then we go for the second version of it. So I'm going to step my legs open again. Outer edges of my feet parallel. Hands on my hips, rolling the shoulders back, elbows back, folding back down to the floor. All the way down halfway. Good. And then now I'm going to take for Parshva Prasarita Uttanasana, taking your right hand to the outer left ankle. And your left hand can be on your fingertips in front of you, so that when you start turning from your waistline, you're going to bend your elbow, you're going to pull yourself across and look underneath your left armpit. So I haven't shifted my hips, but if you don't have the flexibility to hold your ankle, you can always bend that knee, reach your hand to your ankle, and then very slowly see, once you're down here, can we slowly extend that leg straight? And if not, you can always keep the knee bent and just work your turn from your waistline, from your spine, from the side body, lengthening through this hand that's not pressing into the floor, and opening up. And then I can rebend my knee to come out. I can come back into the center, lift up halfway, feel where my center is, realign my hips, realign my feet if you feel that they've slipped open, and then we go to the other side. So for this time, I'm going to bend my right knee, left hand to the outside of right ankle. So if you bend your knee, you can reach right down to your ankle instead of just grabbing your shin. And then I'm going to take my right arm in front of me, placing my fingertips on the floor for maximum stretch in my side. I'm going to start turning and looking under my right arm. And then if you have the flexibility, you can start slowly straightening that leg, turning, and you can walk your hand, your fingertips more into the midline, and turning here. And then gentle, deep breath into the side body, into my intercostals. Parshva Prasarita Uttanasana, slowly coming out, bending my knee, walking my hands back into the center, taking my hands onto my hips, rolling my shoulders back, elbows back, and with a straight spine, we're going to run all the way back up to standing. If you want, you bend your knees, you have your feet together, and you stand in Tadasana, mountain pose. Okay. So for the next one, we're going to come back on our knees. And for me, Parigasana is one of the poses that opens the side the most. So there's different versions of it. You can use the blocks to press against the wall. You can just do it freestanding for the sake of the filming. Today we're just going to do it free on the mat without the wall. So we stand up on our knees and we're going to take my left leg out to the side. So the idea is that you have a really straight line here from your knee all the way to your hip. So the thing is I'm not like this, I'm not at this angle with my knee, and I'm certainly not with pushing my hip out. So you're going to really want to have one straight line here. The foot of the left, on the left side, is placed flat on the floor with the toes pointing forward. If you cannot do that by keeping your knees straight, you can always lift your toes up and be on your heel. Right? For me, it gives me just more stability having the outer edge of my foot on the floor. Now, the other thing is, what tends to happen is that our hips start looking a little bit like this, right? So uneven hips. You want to have the hips level, dropping down, my left hand on my left leg, lifting my right arm up, and then going sideways, sliding my hand down the side, and you go until you start feeling that there's this stretch in the skin on the waistline, right? This is what you want to feel, that the skin opens up, that the intercostal muscles get opened up, stretching your ribs open. Straight arms, so none of this, none of the bent elbow bit. So really, really straight arms, sideways, taking a few deep breaths here into your side. And then with integrity, with a straight spine, without leaning forward. So the thing is that the front body and my back body are in one plane. Huh? Tailbone long. Lifting back up. Good. And coming down. Right. And then we're going to the other side. So taking the foot to the other side. And I need to adjust a little bit to be on my mat here. So right foot, outer edge of my right foot on the floor. Make sure that you've got a straight line here through your leg, through your knee. Straight leg on the right side. Right hand on your knee, left arm lifts up. And Tadasana over to the other side. So really tailbone long, like you're going to feel, if you start cheating because you want to get too far down, your upper body's going to lean forward. We don't want that. We want to have the whole rib on the left side now moving, if anything, moving up to the ceiling and backward. And then you can, for variation, glue your chin to your bicep muscle and looking up. And slowly coming up and out. Going to sit down on our knees. And if you want a little rest, you can always go into Balasana, this time with the arms back, leaning chest, belly onto your thighs, folding forwards. And just taking a few breaths here, resting my shoulders, resting my arms, allowing my body to have a rest. On the inhale, I lift back up. Good, and now we have one sitting pose, and I think then that would be the end of the practice for today. So the pose that I want to practice with you is another one that opens up the sides a lot. It's Parivrita Jano Shirshasana. You need a belt, maybe, depending on your flexibility. So you're going to have your left leg stretch out, right knee bent in. As you can see, I don't have a closed up pose. I'm really opening up through my center. You want to feel that your left leg, the straight leg is straight up, knee pointing straight up. I'm going to use a belt for the sake of the video, placing it over my left foot, over the ball of my left foot. Then left elbow comes on the inside of my left knee down to the floor. So you bend forward a little bit. You make sure that your sit bones are on the floor, and then you can have your hand on your waistline. And slowly, this is a really nice movement, just going in and out of the pose for a moment. So I'm rocking forward a little bit and rocking back. And then you notice how far, without losing the elbow, this is your leverage here to press into. You're going to roll up the right side of my ribs. This is a super big stretch here for my side body. Really rolling the ribs up to the ceiling. Now, if this hurts your neck by looking up, please look forward. Make sure that your neck stays long without strain. And then, if you're super flexible, you can let maybe go of the belt and hold the outer edge of your foot. And taking the arm over the top of my head. If I feel that I can reach, I can hold my foot Or I can even hold my belt if I need more space. But wherever you are at, just feel that you're really breathing and stretching into the side body. Pressing this right knee down to the floor. So don't let the right knee lift up. This stays long, it stays down. You can always leave your hand there and pushing the knee away from you, pushing the foot, the hip away from you, lengthening the side. And then slowly inhale, coming back up. And then we're going to the other side. So we're shifting, stretching my right leg out now, left foot is bent in, and you want to have your left heel inside the groin here, toes, top of the foot pressing into the floor for stability. Make sure that you'll have your knee, right knee and toes pointing up to the ceiling. You don't want to have them rolled out, so they're really in a straight line. Integrity of the pose. I'm going to take my belt again and place it over my right foot. Elbow of the right arm comes on the inside against my knee. Okay, this is my leverage here. And then I'm going to keep my hand on my hip on this side, and I'm going to start like very gently. I can already feel that my left side is a lot tighter than my right side, a lot. So just breathing into the opening, breathing into the stretch. And this is part of your yoga practice, is feeling where is your body at. Like, not both sides are going to be equal, hardly ever. And then if I feel that I can open up my waist, really your QL muscle here is tight, yeah, I can feel that opening and stretching. And then maybe you can take your arm up, reach for your foot or your belt, and you can see it on my body already. This one is really hard here. So in this case, I'm going to keep my hand on my hip, on my knee, and just work with what I've got here on this side. Like lengthening and opening. Breathing and opening. And then to come out, I turn my head down, I release my belt, I come back up. There we go. So the thing is always respect where your body is at. It's not going to be the same on both sides. It's not going to be always like, I feel super open and super flexible on both sides of my body. That's absolutely not the case. So you work with what you've got. The last pose I would like to do is I would like to do a little bit of a lying down twist here. So we're going to bend the knees into our chest. Just easy, Jatara Pariviripasana, opening the arms at the height of my shoulders and letting my knees drop over towards the left side, all the way down to the floor, if you can. Keeping the opposite shoulder rooting down. I'm keeping the head pointing up towards the ceiling, so I'm not turning my head to the opposite side in this case. And then just breathing into your waistline. And gently lifting back up into the center. You can see I keep my feet closed, I can keep my knees together, and the knees are going as high up towards my arm as I can as I go to the other side, like gently releasing them down to the side. And once they hit the floor, I start rooting and lengthening down from the waist, through the arm to the fingertips again, feeling that my side body now on the left side feels a little bit looser. Breathing into your kidneys, breathing into your lower back. Good. On the exhale, tightening the belly, pulling the knees back up into the center. Then you place your feet on the floor, and I think then it's ready. We're ready for Shavasana, so stretching our legs out in front of us. Take anything that you need. If you need a blanket for underneath your head, feel free to take a blanket. I'm going to lie down, feet a little bit wide on the hip distance. I'm lengthening my tailbone, taking my shoulder blades a little bit in, palms turned up towards the ceiling, neck long, and then just completely relaxing and dropping into the floor. So finding that your breath starts just calming down. Your breathing still in and out through your nose. not controlling your breath at all. Let your body breathe the way it wants to breathe. Relaxing your facial muscles. Relaxing the whole front body, letting it be open to the sky. Relaxing the whole back body, from the heels, through my sacrum, to my shoulders, to my hands, the back of my head. With every exhale, dropping more down into the earth, into your mat. And just being for a few minutes here in silence. So remember, you can always stay here longer. For the sake of the video, we have a time limit, so if you feel good in Shavasana, please stay longer, please take the rest. It's really important to take the rest after your asana practice. It's actually more important than the asana practice, is to give ourselves a rest. To come out, you bend your knees. You're going to take your right arm up and behind you so that when we roll onto the right side, we can place our head on our arm. And then slowly we're going to push up to sitting. We're going to turn around, coming back into a comfortable seated position for you. Closing our eyes and just noticing for a moment, how does our body feel? How's our side body? How's our chest? How's our spine? Should feel a little bit more open and lengthened and looser than it was when we started the practice. Go gently placing the hands in front of the heart. You bow your head and you give thanks to your body for being able to move and practice this way, for being able to be healthy and present with our actions in our lives. Thankful for everything that we've got. I thank you for joining us for the practice. Now we're going to have more practices coming up online, so if you liked it, please join us. And you can press the little subscribe button at the bottom of the screen there. And thank you for being with me this morning. Thank you for practicing. So you can subscribe to our channel. That would be really nice. Thank you very much. Namaste.